Hi everyone. Now we are going to discuss a topic called types of electrophoresis. So what is electrophoresis and what are the principles and applications we had gone through in the previous part? So for that you can look into that part that I already did. Okay. Then in this part we'll majorly going to discuss about the types of electrophoresis. Let's have a quick review of what is electrophoresis and what are the types. Okay, so electrophoresis, as we have read, it's a process of moving charged molecules in solution by applying an electric field. So that's why we call it as electrophoresis in an electric field across the mixture. This being termed as electrophoresis, and we know this technique was invented by Mr. Tislayes in the year 1937. And principle and applications, you can look into that part where it was explained in detail. And now coming to the types, so we had two types: free electrophoresis, Joule electrophoresis. And free electrophoresis is going to have the micro and moving boundary electrophoresis. Okay, and coming to the Joule electrophoresis, we are having the paper electrophoresis, cellulose acetate electrophoresis, then gel electrophoresis. We are more concerned about the gel electrophoresis because of uh, according to the syllabus you are going to have this gel electrophoresis. So we will discuss in detail about what is a gel electrophoresis, what is the principle behind it, and what are the applications of it. Okay, then move to the next part. So gel electrophoresis, again of three types depending upon the type of the gel that we are going to use. One is the agarose gel electrophoresis, then starch gel electrophoresis, then polyacrylamidyl gel electrophoresis. So gel electrophoresis, its principles and application. Gel electrophoresis is a technique used for the separation of DNA, RNA or protein, any molecule, biomolecule, according to their size and electrical charge. So majorly gel electrophoresis is going to depend upon the size using an electric current applied to a gel matrix. So that's how we call it as gel electrophoresis. So in the electrophoresis technique, we are going to use a substance called as a gel. So that's why we are going to term it as gel electrophoresis. Look into this picture. So here is a gel matrix. Okay, in this gel matrix, here is a mixture of macromolecules. So for example, assume this as DNA, RNA, and proteins. And after applying the electrophoresis, that is electric field or electric current or power, so they are going to move according to their size. The larger molecules stay behind and the smaller one is moving faster, and the medium size is going to be between the larger and the smaller, and these are all passing through these pores that are present in the gel, isn't it? So then what is a gel? So what is a gel? So gel is a cross-linked polymer whose composition and porosity is chosen based on the specific weight and porosity of the target molecules, isn't it? So gel is going to be of substance cross-linked whose composition and porosity is chosen based on the specific weight and porosity, that means the pore size of the target molecules. Gel material acts as a molecular sieve, that means a sieves. So here we are going to see only the molecular. So we are going to have the molecular level sieve, and gel is going to be an colloidal substance. Okay, in solid form. It is important that the support media is electrically neutral. So the gel should not have any positive or negative nature. It should be neutral. So obviously this is going to have the neutral nature. And examples of this gel, as I told you, is the agar. So in the differences, I told you if the gel is a agar medium, we'll got it as agarose gel electrophoresis. If the starch is going to be act as a gel media, then we call it as a gel electrophoresis. If it is a polyacrylamidyl gel, we call it as a polyacrylamidyl gel electrophoresis. Simply we call it as PAGE, PAGE. Okay. So coming to the uh, what we call it a principle of gel electrophoresis. So an electric field is used to drive the movement of molecules such as DNA, RNA or proteins through a gel made up of agar or polyacrylamide gel. So this is going to be the figure showing the gel electrophoresis chamber, and this Yellow color is going to representing the buffer that is placed in it, and this is the gel that is made. I'll show you the preparation, everything. And these are the wells in the electrophoresis technique I showed you. These are the wells in which the samples are being placed or loaded. Okay, and this whole thing was kept in the buffer, and this whole buffer and this unit is going to be connected to the power. So where you're having a anode and the cathode and anode. So that's how they are moving. The molecules being sorted or dispensed into well in the gel material. The gel is placed in electrophoresis chamber. This is going to be, which is then connected to a power source. Now, this gel electrophoresis is going to be of three types, as I told you, depending upon the type of gel we are using. So, in that, the first one is going to be the agarose gel electrophoresis. So, obviously, the gel is made up of agarose gel electrophoresis. See here the difference of this is a page electrophoresis and this is a agarose gel electrophoresis. And let's come to the agarose gel electrophoresis. So this is how the agarose gel is going to look in microscopic observation. So agarose is a mixture of polysaccharide extracted from seaweeds. So from the seaweeds we are going to extract this agar, and agarose is going to be highly purified uncharged polysaccharide derived from agar. See, just a quite difference between agar and agarose is agar is a polysaccharide extract from the seaweed that we all know, Geladium species. Now this agar is highly purified and made into uncharged polysaccharide, which we call it as agarose. Okay, and now this agarose is chemically basic disaccharide, repeating units of 3,6-anhydro L-galactose. So agarose is made up of the repeated units of anhydro L-galactose. Now this agarose dissolves when added to a boiling liquid and remains in the liquid state. But when the temperature is going to be of about 40 degrees, it starts into the form of a gel. Until then it is going to have a same as a liquid form, but at 40 or below it is going to be of in the form of a gel. See here alternating sugar units forming the linear chains, and these cross linkings are going to be of hydrogen bonds, and the heat breaks these matrices, and in the cooling again they are going to have, and these are the pores, isn't it? So pore size of this agarose. And now what is the difference between these agarose, polyacrylamide and starch? Here are the source. As I told you, agarose is the seaweed. Okay, and separate the proteins ranging from 2000 K-daltons, and the concentration of the sample should be of 0.7% for larger DNA and 2% for smaller fragments. Then the polyacrylamide gel is an advanced of this agarose and the starch, and here it is a chemical preparation made up of a polymerization reaction, that is PCR type polymerase of gel. And now this separating proteins ranging from 5 to 2000 kilodaltons, whereas agarose is only 200 kilodaltons and here is 2000 k-daltons. Okay, and the concentrations may be of 6%, 8%, 10%, 12%. More quantity can be having as a concentration of the sample. But coming to the starch is obviously from the potato starch, and we can separate the proteins can be separated, and their concentration should be of 5 to 10%. We are not bothered about this one because we are not discussing this type of the starch gel electrophoresis. We are mainly concentrated on agarose gel electrophoresis and polyacrylamide. So now we are discussing about this agarose gel electrophoresis. Just I want to compare these two, and this is a more advanced one rather than this agarose. So gel types, as I told you, this is agarose gel and polyacrylamide gel. This we will discuss at end. Okay, after learning this, you will come to know. Then the principle behind this agarose gel, uh, the pore size may be predetermined by adjusting the concentration of the agarose gel in the gel. So if you want only a certain type of the size, you can adjust it by the concentration of the agarose gel. And these agarose gels are going to offer fragile, that means easily breakable. They are actually hydrocolloidals, and they are held together by the formation of, I told you, the weak hydrogen bonds, isn't it, and hydrophobic bonds. Then let's come to the principle. When a potential difference is applied across the electrodes of horizontal electrophoretic tank containing aerosol and biomolecules are loaded, then they get separated according to their molecular size. That means bigger molecules have more molecular size and smaller molecules have smaller molecular size and move to their respective electrodes. Here the aerogels act as a sieve. So that's the main advantage of this one. See here the preparation of the aerogel. So here is a chamber and this is a comb, so which is used to make the wells in the gel, isn't it? So now you are going to have the preparation of your agarose gel, and it is going to be loaded or poured in the that tray that we have taken. Okay, now this is a comb, as I already told you. Now we have to allow the gel to solidify. So once it gets solidified, you are supposed to remove the comb, and now you are able to see the wells that are formed in this one, isn't it? So now after this one, the wells is the origin of migration of the samples. Now you have to load your samples in these wells. Now once it was done, it is going to be connected to the power supply having the cathode and the anode, and now this gel have to be filled with the buffer solution. Now once the buffer solution was kept, everything is ready, you are going to connect with the power supply. And now what is happening? So here see, there are the movement of the molecules, are you able to see? And biological sample and wells and apply the current. Now samples migrate through the gel towards the positive charge. See here, so here is your positive charge anode which is moving towards this direction. So that means when a potential difference is applied across the electrodes, so here the potential difference is being applied of a horizontal electrophoretic tank containing agarose gel that is agarose gel material, and the biomolecules when they are loaded, they get separated according to their molecular size. So I told you the bigger molecules have more molecular size and the smaller will have lesser small molecular size and move towards their respective electrodes. So here the aerogel acts as a sieve. Okay. So now this is the whole preparation and running of this aerogel electrophoresis. And if you observe here, it is how. So these are getting separated. The DNA fragments are getting. So this is having the less molecular size. So it is moving fast and it is having a very high. So this is how the DNA sample was loaded and they are getting separated. If you observe here, this is a loaded area. And from there, they are moving like this. Okay. So now agarose, so here it's just a representation. So here are your DNA fragments of different sizes, larger size, smaller size like this. And when added to a well, where here it's only a well, so this only single well is going to be shown. Okay. Now what is happening after the application of electricity or power, they are moving. So smaller came first, isn't it? And the larger one are trying to be of little bit late as they are having high molecular weight. And finally, you are having the formation of the two bands when you observe like this. Okay. So this is all about the agarose electrophoresis. Then coming to the applications of agarose electrophoresis, we are having several applications. So majorly the first one is used in obviously biotechnological labs in R&D department for almost all types of experiments like DNA fingerprinting, polymerase chain reactions, etc. And this is also being used in the finding out of restriction enzymes or digested DNA prior to Sutherland blotting. So for the Sutherland blotting, we require these enzymes, and these are all being digested by using these agarose gel electrophoresis. And this is also used to separate the RNAs, isn't it? And then quality and quantity of DNA can be assessed by this agarose gel electrophoresis, and we can estimate the size of DNA molecules by using this one. And this agarose gel electrophoresis is also being used widely in immunoelectrophoresis technique, that is antigen antibody reactions. And then it is also being used to separate the different types of protein mixtures as well as the nucleic acids. So these are the certain applications of the agarose gel electrophoresis. electrophoresis. Then we have to have some disadvantages also about this one. So let's have a look of disadvantages. The first disadvantage is electroosmosis is very high. Then resolution is less compared to the pace. That's what we are going to discuss the next topic, that is polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. And purification is often necessary. That means we won't get the purity in this separation of the molecules. Next, different sources and batches of agar tend to give different gels. So we can't take only one type of the agarose. So I told you, depending upon the concentration, we can adjust the sieve types. So according to that also, it is going to change our results. So these are all some drawbacks or disadvantages of agarose gel electrophoresis. So by keeping all these things in mind, we are supposed to have another type, that is a PACE, polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. So the next one is the PACE, polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis, simply called as PACE. The second type of gel electrophoresis. What is the first type? It is agarose gel electrophoresis, and the second type is the PACE, that is polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. And this paste is prepared by polymerizing acrylamide monomers in the presence of methylene bis acrylamide to cross-link the monomers. That means this compound, that is methylene bis acrylamide, is going to be monomers, and those are all going to be put together and forming a long chain that is being called as polymerizing acrylamide monomers, that is polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. Okay, phoresis is the technique that we are using, and the gel name is polyacrylamide gel. Now this polyacrylamide gel structure held together by covalent crosslinks. So which crosslink they are going to have? Covalent crosslinks. Whereas in the agarose we are having a hydrogenic crosslinks and as well as a hydrophobic crosslinks, which are not very strong enough. But here you are able to see the covalent crosslinks in this gel structure, and it is tougher than the agarose gel, as I told you, isn't it? And not only that, they are all going to have gels are uncharged and prepared in a variety of pure sizes, and they are thermostable, which is very important, transparent and strong, and relatively chemically inert. That means they won't easily get changed with the chemicals that are being added. Okay, and then coming to the uh, advantages of this one: proteins are separated on the basis of charge to mass ratio, molecular weight, and a phenomena called molecular sieving. So advantages: gels are stable, that's a major reason, over wide range of pH and temperature. Whereas agarose gets liquefied at the temperature of 41 or 42, because it can't. It is going to be liquefied in condition. And gels of different pore size can be formed. Simple and separation speed, simple in the preparation, and separation speed is also good compared to our agarose gel electrophoresis. Okay, so these are the few advantages of PACE. Then coming to the this polyacrylamide gel types we are going to discuss. So we have gone through this one. So in the electrophoresis we are discussing about the gel electrophoresis, and in the gel electrophoresis we had discussed about this agarose gel electrophoresis. Now we are moving into this polyacrylamide gel in detail. Now this page, that is polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis, is again of two types. How many types? Two types. What is that? The SDS phase and the native phase. Okay, the SDS phase means sodium diadecyl sulfate phase, that is polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis, whereas this one is a native phase. Okay, let's look into this one. This SDS phase is also called as denatured phase. We will call it as denatured, and the native phase is the one where all the conditions and the protein is not going to denature. Okay, what is it all? That I will tell you. Sodium dodecyl sulfate polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis is the full form of SDS phase. It is also called as denatured phase, as I told you. Okay. Now, what is happening in this SDS phase? This technique is widely used in biochemistry, forensics, and then in molecular biology, especially to separate the proteins according to their electrophoretic mobility. So we are going to use this SDS base mainly in the separation of the proteins. Okay, and when a detergent called SDS is added to the base, the sub combined procedure is termed as SDS base. That means if you are going to add SDS, that means this compound sodium dodecyl sulfate to the base, then we call it as SDS base. But in the that is native base, we are not going to add anything, so that's why that is called as a native base. Okay, now what is happening here? So what is happening in the SDS base? So this technique uses anionic detergent called as SDS, which dissociates the proteins into their individual polypeptide proteins in their uh, into their individual polypeptide subunits and gives a uniform negative charge along each denatured polypeptide. So look into this figure, then you'll come to know what is it. Again, we'll move to the principle. So here is the protein structures, isn't it, containing of both positive and negative proteins folded with positive and negative charges. Now we are having the disulfide bonds also. Now our SDS is being added, isn't it? The native protein is going to be unfolded by adding this SDS, so which is nothing but the mercaptoethanol. Okay, this mercaptoethanol is going to reduce this disulfide bonds. That means it is going to break the things by at the junction of this disulfide bonds. So this native protein, that means the starting protein, is unfolded by heating in the presence of beta mercaptoethanol, and this mercaptoethanol is going to break the disulfide bond that is present in the folded structure of protein, and the SDS space is going to give the negative charge to all these protein molecules. Now both are doing, one is mercaptoethanol is breaking the link of the disulfides and the SDS is adding the negative charge to this one. Now this is how the unfolded to a linear structure with negative charge proportional to the polypeptide chain length. So here if you see, this negative changed into a linear structure having the negative charge throughout it, isn't it? So you are going to have a large polypeptides bind more SDS than small polypeptides. So proteins end up with negative charge in relation to their size. So whatever that thing may be, it is a small or the large one, they're all going to have only negative charge. Now when treated with SDS and a reducing agent, the polypeptides become rods of negative charge with equal charge density. Now there is no chance for positive or negative, only one charge is there, that is negative charge. Okay, now thus we can separate the proteins based on their mass. Now there is no question of the charge, they have to be separated only depending upon their density, that is mass. So now you can see here they are going to have the, these two are equal size, so they are going to have the formation like this, and these are heavy mass, so obviously retain back. So that's how you are going to separate the protein molecules by using this SDS base. So let's see the principle. So this technique uses anionic detergent, that is SDS, which dissociates proteins into their individual polypeptide proteins into their and gives a uniform negative charge along each denatured polypeptide. So uniform, this is what, okay, uniform negative charge along each denatured polypeptide. SDS coat protein molecules, giving all proteins a constant charge mass ratio. That is also important. All are having negative charge and they are going to have the mass. The rate of movement is influenced by the gel pore size and the strength of the electric field. So these two are also impacting the movement of these molecules. So once again, the native proteins are going to be converted into the unfolded structure by two things. One is a beta mercaptoethanol, another one is the SDS. The beta mercaptoethanol is going to break the sulfide bonds that are present in the protein structure, and the SDS is going to give the negative charge to all the amino acids or the protein molecules that are present in the protein structure. Now those were made into the linear structures, and those are all going to have the negative charge only irrespective of the size. Now there is no question of the separation depending upon the charges, because they are all having the negative charge. Now they have to move only depending upon their mass. So it's very easy for the separation of the proteins depending upon their mass, isn't it? So this is how it is going to happen. Okay. Now, so if you see, this is a SDS space, and here is all the buffer. Okay, this is a vertical type, and now this is a well where you're going to have the loading of your samples and stacking gel. And now when you place your sample, the big proteins stay behind and the smaller proteins move faster to the positive charge, and that's how these things are going to be useful for the separation of the proteins. Let's have a quick review of the principle. As I told you, they are getting separated just along each denatured protein. SDS codes. This technique was uses which anion? Anionic detergent called as SDS. What is SDS? Sodium dodecyl sulfate, which dissociates the proteins into their individual polypeptide subunits also, and gives a uniform negative charge along each denatured polypeptide. SDS codes protein molecules, giving all proteins a constant charge mass ratio. The rate of movement is influenced by the gel's pore size as well as the strength of the electric field. So that's all about the principle of SDS phase. Then moving to the applications of SDS phase. Okay, why we should use this one. So it is going to be mainly used for the following purposes. One is the establishing protein size, and then for protein identification, and it is also being used for determining sample purity of proteins, and then identifying the disulfide bonds that are present in the protein. Then this is also used for quantifying the proteins, and even for the blotting applications also we can use. And sometimes this is also used in the estimation of molecular weights of proteins and nucleic acids, and this is also used in monitoring changes of protein content in the body fluids. And even purification of isolated proteins can be done by using this SDS phase. And we can also have the determination of subunits structure of proteins. The structures we are having the primary, secondary, tertiary structures, isn't it? In that we can find the subunits of it, alpha, beta, like that. Okay, so this is all about the applications of SDS phase. So in this part we had gone through the two types of electrophoresis, of gel electrophoresis. One is the agarose gel electrophoresis, and another one is the SDS phase electrophoresis. Okay, just I want to give a clarity about the difference between the SDS phase and the native phase. Maybe you'll have a little bit curiosity of what is this native phase. We had discussed about SDS. What is a native phase? See, this native phase gels run in non-denaturing conditions. See, in the SDS, we are denaturing the proteins and then we are following the electrophoresis. But in the native phase, we are not going to have such type of denaturation. So that's why this is called as a native phase. In the native gel electrophoresis, the gels run in non-denaturing conditions, so that annulate's natural structure is maintained. But here you are not going to have. We are going to change the structure of protein into denaturation condition, isn't it? And in the native phase, the separation is based upon the charge, size, and shape of the macromolecules. But in our SDS phase, there is no question for the charge, isn't it? Why? Because all of them are having only the negative charge. So how you are going to separate? Only depending upon the molecular weight. Then what about the native phase? Is useful for separation or purification of mixture of proteins, and especially SDS phase is useful for checking the purity of protein samples. Okay, and native phase is the original mode of electrophoresis, and this is a modified mode of electrophoresis. So that's how the phase is going to be of two types. One is a native phase, and this SDS phase, which is also called as denatured phase. Okay, so that's all about the types of phases, and let's have a quick see of the differences between the agarose gel electrophoresis and the phage electrophoresis. See here. So as I told you, agarose gel is made up of polysaccharide extracted from seaweed, that is agar, and polyacrylamide gel is a polymer of acrylamide component, isn't it? And gel casted horizontally, and majorly we are having this as a vertically. We have seen at last it's vertically. Then this is a non-toxic, and this is a potentially neurotoxic. Agarose gel is a non-toxic and it is safe to use, but it is some sort of toxic in nature, so we have to be very careful. And in the agarose gel, large molecules only can be separated, but in the paste we can separate even the smaller molecules. And in the agarose gel is mainly used for DNA separations, whereas in the paste we are going to use for both DNA as well as the protein separations. And coming to the agarose-gel electrophoresis, staining can be done before or pouring the gel. But in the paste, we can be done only after pouring the gel. Okay, staining can be done only after the pouring the gel. So these are the two differences between the gel types of agarose and the polyacrylamide gel. So now at the end of this session, we had learned about the two types of the gels of gel electrophoresis. One is the agarose gel electrophoresis and the polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. I hope so you all understood well. Thank you.